this is the unit that gets wet. So right here, all of these little prongs is where the fuses plug into. Hey, what's up everybody? Jared here. Today I'm sitting in the back of my daughter's Acura MDX, year 2008. Over the past couple weeks, we've had a couple weird issues with this. One of which the key fob would not unlock. She had to manually unlock her doors. We had it completely die to where the battery was dead. I thought for sure it was a dead battery, but now I'm thinking this is more related to an issue I'm fighting here. She also had where one evening after work, she started it. Car starts fine, but the headlights will not come on. Daylight running lights will come on. And the wipers and the turn signals will not work. Upon some investigation online, I found out that there's a good chance we're getting water into this rear fuse box, which is also called the MICU, M-I-C-U. And I popped the cover off today, and sure enough, there is water on there. And please forgive me, I got a cold, so I'm going to sound a little weird. And trying to track down the source of this water infiltration has been a royal pain in the rear. I've used my Milwaukee inspection camera, flashlight, trying everywhere. Oh, and also, by the way, the subwoofer speaker over here, the fabric that's over the speaker screen is also wet. So I'm getting water on both sides. I thought, if I'm getting water on both sides, got to be something that's common between the two. So I popped down the headliner here a little bit and checked out the antenna, the little shark fin. Everything's perfectly dry up there. So I started kind of just checking other ways for water to get in. I went up, opened up the moonroof, put a funnel in there, poured water in there, made sure water's coming out of the drains and not dripping back here, and I didn't see any water dripping. So I popped the drip rail that's along the full length of the car where the luggage rack would mount, which we don't have, but if you have one, it's right where the luggage rack mounts. Popped that up, poured water in there, and let it come all the way down, drip over. I waited a few minutes, and then I'd see drips in here. So I'll show you what that looks like and where that's coming from. And I think what has happened, and I found this pretty common online, is where all of these body panels are seamed together. They use seam sealer, and just over time that seam sealer breaks down, dries out, cracks, and then will allow water in. What's capturing all of this, on this side at least, I reached my hand up there above the fuse box and felt water, felt something damp, and when I touched it, water had come pouring out. So instead of the water just following the body panels down and around, it was actually getting soaked into this, and then this is what was dripping on top of the fuse box. So this is what I pulled this out first, had to take all of this interior loose and pop out the seat belt. That's where I could get the best access to actually look in there, look for the drip. And then I removed that foam piece so I could see where water, or if water, was coming in. So we'll pour some water on there, move the camera over, and let you see what's happening inside. It's running over this way, down around there, and I think it's going in that seam right there. And there it's dripping. It's dripping right down on the inside of this metal. So in my opinion, without a doubt, it's got something to do with either the cracks there or along the body seam. I'll take a toothbrush, some Awesome, and we're going to scrub it up and clean it and see if we can find those cracks. So now what I've done is I've taken some butyl tape and put it in the end of the drip rail. I'll show you here. And I'm doing that because I want to see if it's the seams inside the rail that's letting the water in. So I'm going to dam it up, not let it come down over the back. If it doesn't leak, then I know the crack must be somewhere more rearward as it's coming down behind the hatch. So here's the butyl tape. I originally thought it was this crack that was causing the issue, but I poured water directly right here and let it run for a little while, and I did not get any drips. So we're going to dam this up. We'll pour water in here and see if we can't make the leak happen. So water did not come in that place. Everywhere there's 2 bolts, there's a seam where a plate is. I'm going to now move upwards a little bit, pour water there so it hits that spot and the next one, and see if water comes in. I'm trying to prevent water from going up over the hump and then hitting the next seam. I'm trying to just keep it localized so I can figure out which one's causing the problem. I got water drips. I have a blue paper towel in there sitting right now catching so I can tell if something happens or when something happens. All right, so I'm going to do it again, second seam, and see what happens. So right now it is dripping down off that metal plate. There, you just saw a drip. Since one seam's leaking, I can only assume that the rest of them will probably end up leaking over time. So I'm going to pull that entire drip rail off, scrub all of them with the cleaner and a toothbrush, rinse it all out, dry it, and then I'm going to seal it up with some self-leveling Dicor lap sealant, which is meant for campers. It's UV resistant, it stays elastic, it doesn't harden, it sticks to just about everything. You can seal over top of itself, unlike silicone. Silicone, you can't do that. So we're going to go and attack that once I get everything cleaned up and dry. So these are the seams I'm talking about. This one near the back hatch did not let any water in. This one did. But there are several all the way up. So we're going to clean all of these and seal the whole thing. So this is the Dicor lap sealant. This is white and self-leveling. Luckily my car is white. This is offered in several colors, but it is awful nice that I get to use a color meant for this vehicle. So once again, this is meant for RVs and campers. Fantastic stuff. So I think it should work really good, but being self-leveling would be really nice. I can just put a little bead around there and let it kind of flow where it wants to and not have too much of a hump or globbed up anywhere and fill all the crevices. So let's get this stuff installed. So I have the rails all sealed up, which I'll show you in a second. But what I wanted to show you first is this is the unit that gets wet. So right here, all of these little prongs is where the fuses plug into, as well as the relays. And then there's a couple boards are kind of wafered, and they have different paths for the power to flow, and water gets in between those. That's what causes the problem. Now luckily when I pulled mine out, I didn't notice any water whatsoever on the back circuit board, but I definitely had water in there. And I did have water in this case. I took this all apart so I could dry it out. And I put a alligator clip in there so I could set this on top of a dehumidifier and make sure I got it all completely dried on the inside. This is really easy to take out. It's 2 nuts. They're holding it on these studs and just the clips. That's really it. The case comes apart. By prying out where these little raised tabs are to take it off of this. Then once you get that out, only one screw holds this entire unit in. But make sure you pull out all of your fuses and relays first, because otherwise those will be holding that in. So I have a little bit more water to let dry out of this, but I just wanted to show you this real quick, and then we're going to snap the rails back down on top. I'll show you what I did with the caulking there, and then we'll put this back together and hope it works. So these are the bolts and the rails that were letting this leak. Like I said, I just used self-leveling Dicor lap sealant. So it's a success. No more water infiltration. Drying out the fuse panel block has fixed everything. Everything works. The back hatch works. Turn signal, lights, door locks, headlights. Everything works. So we'll see. So far everything's good. The real test will be now when it sits out in rain for a long time, but I'm pretty confident that everything will be just fine. So if you're having weird electrical issues, I would highly suggest you look for something like this. Dig in there, take a look at that fuse panel, see if it's wet at all, and then start doing the same type of research I did, looking for places for water to get in, specifically the drip rails all along the top where the roof rack is, if you have one, or where it would mount if you were to get one and don't have one. And go ahead and seal it up. You're not going to hurt anything. It's hidden by those black strips, so seal it up. Nobody will be none the wiser, and you could save yourself a lot of heartache and possibly getting stranded. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. Give me a thumbs up, hit the like button, subscribe for more videos, and I will see you next time.